off with the stick in my left hand, the collective, I'm going to start to raise that up. And what we're doing to the aircraft is increasing the pitch or the angle of both main rotor blades, just starting to generate flow down through the rotor system. After we have enough lift to take off, then with the stick in my right hand, the cyclic, we're just going to start to find a neutral position. So we're going to vector that thrust straight down while we travel straight up. We're just going to climb vertical until we're clear of our obstacles. So over our building, and then more importantly, over the power lines out there. Now we're just going to tilt the rotor disc forward, take all of that vertical lift, turn it into forward flight, and off we go, we're flying. So it's a lot less eventful as compared to an airplane takeoff. We can kind of just float away. All right, now we're going to climb up to between 300 and 500 feet over the ground, and for most of our trip, we're going to be cruising at speeds of over 100 miles per hour. We can always keep track here in the GPS. So right there, I've set it up to miles per hour rather than knots. So right now, I'm just approaching 80 miles per hour. All right, now we're also going to feel a couple little bumps and jumps. So beautiful day to fly, but as the air mass warms up over the course of the day, it starts to move around. Being a light helicopter, we feel those differences in the air. So if we feel heavy in our seat, we're getting an updraft. Light in our seat, we're getting a downdraft. And then that sway back and forth is just a crosswind. So it's kind of like being in a boat and then going over the occasional wave, only more exciting in the helicopter because these are wind waves. You can't really see them coming, so it's more of a surprise when they get here. All right, now heading up over the Royal Gorge Road. Beyond that, we're going to start to see the bridge and park come into view. And you're going to see this is a beautiful bridge. It's in a beautiful location, but there never really was a practical reason to put a bridge here because there's really nothing special on one side or the other to cross to. The gorge is only 6 miles long from east to west, so it's easier to go around this feature than it is to come out here and cross over at this point. So the reason for building this here was just to be the tallest bridge in the world for its time. So it was back in 1929, 2 engineers from Dallas, Texas got together with our local Department of Corrections, and with the help of prison labor, they were able to build this bridge in just 8 months' time. So it was really fast construction. After 8 months, we have a bridge that is 955 feet above the Arkansas River. That made this the tallest bridge in the world through 2001, tallest suspension bridge through 2003, now down into the top 4 worldwide. So now it goes China, Russia, China again, and then the Royal Gorge Bridge here at number 4 among suspension bridges, height above ground. But it still is the tallest suspension bridge in the Americas, which is great to have here in southern Colorado. All right, now as we turn to the south, we can see out to the wet mountains. We have smoke haze in the area because high pressure system over Colorado, low pressure system over Kansas is drawing in all this smoky air from the northwest, but then the high pressure is capping it in. So lose a little bit of long distance visibility, but we gain this kind of oil painting quality as the mountains disappear in it. And if you look at my hand, it's kind of like an orangey color. Well, that is the particulates filtering the sunlight, and so you get this kind of glowing orange through the iron oxide as well. So it's a pretty unique flight experience today. All right, now below us you can see where we had a fire of our own. It was June of 2013. It started on the south side, burned across to the north side. You can kind of see its burn path from up here. Burned 3,000 acres of forest between the 2 rims. It took out the incline, and 48 of 52 structures at the park did not burn the bridge down. We're very grateful for that. So what we have now is a nice new updated park with the new gondola, the zip line, a lot more in the way of action adventure, which has been a bigger draw for people overall. And so we ended up kind of really a blessing in disguise, and not just the end of tourism, which is kind of what we thought back in 13 when the fire came through. All right, now getting turned back around to the north, just descending out of 7,000 feet above sea level. Still puts us about 600 feet over our helipad. So we're going to descend about 500 feet per minute down over Zipline Ridge, and then we'll get set up for what looks like is still our southwest wind approach. What do you guys think? Do you like the helicopter?
Yeah.
All right. I think it's the best way to sightsee, but of course I'm going to say that. Really, I'd argue that it's the best way to travel, period, but a little too expensive to fly around everywhere we go. Now to descend, we're just removing a little bit of pitch out of that rotor blade, allowing gravity to take back over. Right now we're cruising 120 miles per hour, so we're going to start to slow that down by just flaring back the rotor disc. And with this southwest direction, we're going to do kind of like a Z pattern on our way back in. So right now with a crosswind, we're going to turn that crosswind into a tailwind. So we're going to descend with the tailwind, but we always want to land into the wind with the helicopter, so we'll turn that back around into a headwind as we cross the highway. Now we have to go over the short power lines, turn before we get to the tall power lines, all stuff you normally wouldn't want to hear about when you're flying in a helicopter, but we're surrounded by them, so we just embrace that they are there and then just play nice with them. All right, now down through about 80 knots, which is good. We're going to use that all in this last little left-hand turn. So kind of like a hawk or an eagle kind of lining up their prey on a breezy day, turning that upwind wing down into the wind. It's going to allow us to cut down through here. And that sets us up for a nice shallow approach. Now as we slow down further, we're going to start to feel a little vibration through the rotor system. That's just going to be a little bit of our own rotor tip vortices, and they're catching up to the rotor disc. So like a really expensive massage here. We're just going to ride those vibrations all the way down to the ground. And then once it becomes all rotor tip vortice, recycled airflow, it just kind of smooths out. And coming in for set down. Remember, after we set down, the boys will be right out to assist you. They're going to open the doors for you. And then make sure to exit around the front so you can stay away from the tail rotor and the hot exhaust we have out there behind us. There we are, safe on the ground. Well, thank you so much for flying with us, everyone. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
It's my pleasure. If you couldn't tell, I enjoy it too. All right, here comes Cole and Taylor.